Hello, I hope you're doing great and welcome back to another episode of FPL First. As I mentioned earlier in what my schedule is today I'm going to be talking about the deadline day and my reaction on some of the transfers that took place. There was loads of transfers that took place in the last sort of 10 minutes of the deadline, so that was quite interesting. I'm going to pick out my best picks of the teams, and then after that I'm going to do a review of the top 6's transfer business this summer, including the change in the managers in Arsenal and Chelsea, and including Tottenham's failure to actually do any transfers whatsoever. So that's coming up in this episode. Alright, so to begin with, let's have a look at the West Ham. That's the first thing we're going to go. They had a very active transfer market this summer, but in particular in their the deadline day, they brought in quite a few good players, in my opinion. And I'm not sure how much they're going to influence their team, but I think it's going to really boost their overall squad. So to begin with, a player that's gone from my team, Arsenal, which is the striker Lucas. If we look at him, he's gone as a player that was completely out of favour at Arsenal. I feel sorry for him, to be honest, because I think he has potential. He looks like a good player, but we just mucked around with him. We didn't give him any chance, just kept on putting him on loan, and so I feel that he's going to actually probably get a good opportunity at West Ham, and I wish him the best of luck. But if we look at him on the FPL, he's worth 6.5. I'm not sure about that price, to be honest. I think it's a little bit overpriced for him, and the reason I say that is because he hasn't played. He didn't even play any games for Arsenal in the pre-season as well, so he's pretty much going as an unknown. We know he has the ability, but has he got the confidence? Has he got the match fitness? Has he got the potential to actually play for West Ham? I mean, you've got to look at their main players, Arnautovic and Chicharito. You know, you're probably thinking they're going to start, especially if they're only playing one striker. So I'm not sure about that 6.5 for him, potentially because he's probably not going to play that many games at the start of the season. So you could actually see him lose some value. And another player that's came in, England fans should definitely know him because he was in the Colombian team, Carlos Sanchez, or Sanchez, however you want to say it. He's only 4.5. Now, I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's quite a good player, and he was playing centre-back for Colombia in the World Cup. For some reason, he's come as a central midfielder, I guess, for West Ham and on FPL. I think for 4.5, that's not a bad punt. I mean, you're only going to be putting 4 or 4.5s on your bench anyway, and I think that Carlos Sanchez, as the season progresses, could actually play quite a big part for West Ham. He's a tenacious player. He gets around the park. He could pick up quite a few bonus points, so I wouldn't say that he would be a bad shout to put in on your bench. I wouldn't put him on the main team just yet, because obviously, again, you don't know if he's going to be in West Ham's plans or what his form's going to be like. Is he going to be good in the Premier League? Who knows? He hasn't ever played there before, so all these things are unknown. But for 4.5, I don't think that's a bad call. I think he could potentially be a good option for the bench. I'll be talking about that later when I release a video on my final draft before the Premier League starts tonight. So excited for the game. I'm very excited to see how Man United shape up, because especially with a lot of their players reaching latter stages of the World Cup, could be interesting. See what tactics Mourinho puts out. See who's come back and looking good. Okay, so going on to my second team, we're going to one of the most active teams in the transfer window this summer, Everton. Now, they brought in some pretty good players on transfer deadline, and in particular, the player that stands out to me that they've managed to bring in is Bernard. I've rated Bernard for a very long time. I think he's a wicked player. He's coming in as a 6 million midfielder, but he's going to be playing as an attacking winger if he plays. Obviously, there's a lot of choice now at Everton in that midfield, so I think he's going to have to be fighting for his place. I don't think he's guaranteed to be a starter, so again, I wouldn't put him straight. I mean, I wouldn't put him straight into a team just because you don't know if he's going to start. But having said that, Everton have got a really good start to the season in terms of fixtures, so I already talked about that yesterday in my video. So I mean, he could be a cheap midfielder that could pick up a lot of points. He's always guaranteed for an assist. He's a good sort of player, and I wouldn't bet against him. So he's a good choice. And then Andre Gomez. Again, is he going to start that much? I'm not sure. Is he a good player? Absolutely. Coming from Barcelona on loan. So he's obviously got a very bright future. But I think he's going to be more of a backup player for Everton. So I think he'd be a lot more of a risk if you were to put him into your team. And the last player is Mino. And for 5.5, it's... Yeah, I think... he's probably going to start for the Everton defence, so he'll get a lot of game time for sure. I just don't know for 5.5 is he worth it. I think there are some better players out there for 5.5. But having said that, they've got that easy start, so there's a good chance he'll keep clean sheets, and there's a good chance that, you know, he'll get the odd goal going forward. And let's not forget that he got 3 goals in the World Cup from corners and set plays, so you can't write him off. And he, you know, Everton, you know, they've got Baines, who's a good free kick taker, so you can't write off him scoring some goals from set pieces. So he could potentially be a good player to put in for the start of the season. Okay, so moving on to Leicester. Leicester, let's have a look at their team. Leicester brought in Benkovic, the Croatian player. He's coming in at a rating of 5 million. I don't know a lot about him. I had to do a little bit of research, to be honest. He had 25 appearances last year, and he scored 4 goals. So, yeah, I mean, that's not a terrible return from a defender. He's probably likely going to be starting for Leicester because alongside Maguire. For 5, he could be a good shout. But again, new to the Premier League. You know, it's going to take time to settle and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, probably one to avoid in my opinion. And lastly, going to Crystal Palace, who have got a fairly easy start to the season, and they have just brought in Jordan Ayew. Last season got 108 points, and he's coming in as a 6 million option. Again, Jordan Ayew, will he start? That's my question. Will he start? There's a lot of competition now for places in Crystal Palace, so I'm not sure that he'll start straight away. Potentially, but I doubt it. So I would avoid him for now. But for a 6 million option, yeah, he can get a few points. I think there's better options out there for 6 million though, so I wouldn't go for him just for now. Okay, so let's go into the next part of this video where I'm going to be talking about the top 6 and rounding up their overall summer transfer. So let's get into it. Alright, so starting off with the champions from last year, we're going to be looking at Man City. They were quite quiet actually compared to previous transfer windows. They only brought in Mahrez, and what can you say? I mean, he got 195 points for Leicester. He's now going to be in a team full of superstars. He's going to have loads of opportunities, but is he going to be playing that much? That's the question. Mahrez, 9 million, it's quite a good price for him considering, but I just think that because of Pep Guardiola going to be doing loads of rotations, again, I'm not sure that he's going to be worth the 9 million. I don't think, for example, with an extra 0.5 million, you can get Eriksen in your team. I think he's going to be guaranteed every single game starting, so I don't think I would rather take, you know, I don't think I'd rather take Eriksen out, for example, and put Mahrez in, because I don't think you're going to get as much playing time this season. Remember, Mahrez got every, you know, apart from his injury, he was playing every game for Leicester as one of their main players, and him and Vardy had a really good partnership. You don't know if he's going to strike up a partnership with Aguero or Jesus. It's unknown. But, I mean, if you look at the whole squad for Man City, it's an absolutely brilliant squad. They're going to be definitely there or thereabouts at the end of the season. I can't really see any other team apart from Liverpool giving them a title content. So, yeah, I mean, good luck to him. But I don't think that he'll be... I don't think Mahrez, will be the player to put into your team right now. I just can't justify that price. Okay, going on to second place, the Manchester rivals in Man United. So Man United, actually, they've had a pretty disappointing transfer market overall. I was looking at BBC Sport yesterday. I'm going to put a few of the pictures alongside the video here. Not a lot of people are happy with Mourinho's, and you know, he's been complaining with the board. They've had a lot of arguments and stuff like that, and I think there's a lot of problems going on at Man United right now. Mourinho could prove us wrong. You know, he's got a good reputation and past behind him, so he's got a lot of experience. He could pull something out of the hat, but right now, it's not looking like a restful place in Man United right now. It's not looking good. So, I mean, in my opinion, Fred is going to be a good signing, and I think he's going to shore up that midfield. He's probably going to give Pogba a bit more sort of license to roam forward and be more in those attacking positions like he does with France. The problem is Pogba going to be at Man United by the end of the transfer window for the rest of Europe? I'm not sure. I think if Barcelona put in a good offer, I think he'll be off. So then Man United are back to that same problem where they've got Fred and they've got, you know, Matic, but then who else are going to be playing that midfield there? And they haven't got any chance of signing one now. So yeah, it'd be interesting. If Pogba stays, then I think Fred's going to be a great signing. And he has a shout for being in a team, especially for being 6, because he has actually got quite a good attacking flair to him in terms of creative passing. He can find a ball quite well. Yes, he's a bit more defensive, but he's a bit like Ozil. He's got a really good final pass. So yeah, he could get a few assists during the year. Moving on to last year's 3rd place, and this is going to be my favourite part of this video. Why? Because nothing happened. Tottenham got a new stadium coming. Arsenal, I feel for them, to be honest. Arsenal went through this not that long ago, so I understand how the kind of situation they're in. They've got no money, loans for the stadium. No players in, no players out. What can we say about Spurs? I'm going to show some funny comments that I've seen about Spurs on the deadline day yesterday. I'm going to put them on the screen now. And yeah, I think what can you say? I mean, I think they're going to struggle. I think they're really going to struggle. As you can see here, 23 players shown. Their first team is one of the best on paper. Probably only Man City has a better. Well, you could say Man City, Liverpool, and Tottenham probably have the best team on paper. But as soon as you go outside of that first 11 for Tottenham, they're lacking in numbers. Yeah, and you've got Lamela injured, you've got Wanyama injured, Winks is injured. Outside of Kane, you've got Llorente. Who else can play up front? I mean, there's not much options for him. I mean, Son was playing up front for them last season, but he prefers to be on the wing, and I think he's better on the wing, to be honest. So, if Kane gets injured, Tottenham, I believe they could possibly move out of the top 6 because they just haven't got strength in numbers. So it'll be an interesting season for Tottenham, but we'll find out. Okay, moving on to 4th place last season. We're going on to Liverpool. Probably, in my opinion, have had the best transfer season of all of the top 6 clubs. They've obviously brought in Alisson, absolutely great keeper, and he's going to definitely shore up the back for Liverpool. Add to the signing of Van Dijk last season. I think Liverpool's defence is now looking pretty strong, to be honest, and those kind of defensive woes and keeping howlers, they're probably going to be a thing of the past now. Well, I'm sure they hope, and they are going to be. So Liverpool, I have to read because there's so many different players they brought in. They brought in Fabinho from Monaco. That'll be a good signing in my opinion. He's only rated 6 on FPL, so he could be a good shout. Quite a creative player. Keita, 7.5. Again, really good midfielder. You need to find out and see if he's going to fit into the Premier League well. I'm not sure. I think for 7.5, I think there's other players which have got experience in the Premier League that are probably a better shout for that price. Then we're going on to Shaqiri. I'm a big fan of Shaqiri. I love his tenacity. I love how he's always up for every game. I think now he's going to be in a better team. He's going to be creating a lot more chances, and he's going to have people that can actually finish those chances, apart from when he was at Stoke. Having said that, how much game time is he going to get? I'm not sure. And again, for 7.5, until I'm more confident of him getting more game time and actually going to be on the pitch, then I'll probably think that he'll be a good shout. But right now, for 7.5, yeah, I don't think that he'd be going to my team. Having said that, he got 155 points for Stoke, so that's a pretty good return in such a shit team. And then also, yeah, that's it. I think that's the 4 best players they've signed, so pretty good for Liverpool. Going on to Chelsea, and again, quite a good transfer window for Chelsea. I think Kepa is he's probably not a world-class keeper, but he's probably in the top 10. Will he replace Courtois? Probably not. I think Courtois is probably top 3 in the world, in my opinion. So, yes, good player, very good player, but will he replace Courtois? I don't think so. I think that, very difficult to replace Cotter, so. But still, he'll be a good signing, but I wouldn't put him in my team. I think Edison for 5.5 is a better shout. Jorginho in midfield, if we have a look down, he is rated at 5. He's a defensive player. I watched the pre-season against Man City. He lost the ball a lot, and I think he's going to be prone to mistakes getting up to the pace of the Premier League, so I would avoid having him in my team at the start. They loaned also the player from Real Madrid in the Courtois deal, Kovacic, destroying that name. Anyway, Croatian player, played in the World Cup, but I looked at his stats and he hasn't got any goals last season. He had about 30 appearances, club and country, and didn't score 1 goal. So yeah, he's only 6, but I don't think that he's. I don't know how many points he's going to pick up in the season, and also I don't know if he's going to be a main player. Who knows? So until we know that, I wouldn't put him in. And yeah, that's Chelsea's main transfers. And moving on to my team, Arsenal. We obviously brought in Leno. Very happy with that signing. I think he's one for the future. I'm not sure he's going to start. I think Czech will probably still be starting, but I think Leno will definitely be one for the future. But I wouldn't put him in my team just because I think Czech will be starting. Socrates in the defence. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. Having said that, Arsenal still look shaky at the back, so I think he is, even if he is a good player and he will bring an extra element to the team, I think Arsenal are still going to be leaking goals, so I don't think that it's worth the 5.5 price tag. And going into our midfield, we brought in Torreira. He looks a brilliant player. It really impressed me in the World Cup for Uruguay. I've seen him in pre-season. He looks pretty good as well. Having said that, he's a central defensive midfielder. Rarely gets forward. He's good at set pieces, so he might get a few assists. That is very possible. But I think that until we know that he's going to be doing the set pieces, apart from someone like Ozil or Mkhitaryan, for example, I don't think that he's going to get many points. So I don't. And also, he's got to prepare himself for the Premier League and stuff. So I wouldn't put him in the team. And who else did we sign? We also signed Guendouzi, but again, he's young, only 4.5, and I don't think he's going to be in the team. Anyway, guys, if you've that's the end of the episode. If you've enjoyed this, give me a like, and if you want to see I'm going to be bringing out another video later, which is going to be talking about a couple of other drafts that I've done for my FPL team, and I'm going to be talking about why I picked those players. But they're probably not going to be my final drafts, but I'm still going to give a talk about them, and then I'm going to give a preview of the Man U game and give my final draft of the FPL before the deadline, and also I'm going to give my betting predictions for the weekend. So make sure you click the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and hit the bell for the future videos, which are going to be coming up later today and in the future as well. Okay, until then guys, peace.